Good day, everyone. Today, I will be discussing about one of the industrial level analysis, specifically the Porter's five forces. My name is Carmichael S. Rubin, your topic discussion for this day. But first, I'll be discussing about my financial goals. First, for my short-term financial goal is to be debt-free this year, December 2025. Since I have a debt of amounting to 12,000 pesos, I'll saving up to 1,000 per month in order to pay off this debt. And next, I have also a goal to pay off my tuition fee, which will be for my sixth year already in college. So my estimates, I will be needing 6,000 for the whole school year. So by this, I need to save up 1,000 per month target by December 2025 also. So it will be just for 6 months. And next is for my midterm goal. First is to create a emergency fund amounting to 120,000 pesos, which would have a target year of 2027. So it will this emergency fund should be funded up 1 to 2 years. So per month, I'm planning to save up 5,000 per month. And next would be to buy a house and lot for my own family to start up my own family. So my estimate or my plan budget will be 500,000. And in order to reach this goal, I am planning to save up to 20,000 per month. So the target year for this will be in 2028. Next will be with my long-term financial goals. First is to have a investment fund, to have a six-digit investment fund. Target will be 20 to 30 years. So I'm planning to save up to 30 to save or to fund 30 to 50,000 per month for my investment fund. So by this, I will start or I will begin this right after I would have my first job. So next would be to have my family fund. So this fund should be used for in building up my own family. So the initial goal for this fund is 1.5 million, and I'm planning to fund this 50,000 per month. This family fund will be subject to yearly or annual adjustments based on the needs and the ability of me or my family to put up into this fund. So that's all for my financial goal. Today, I'll be tackling or discussing about the Porter's five forces. So here is a five forces model, which is first is the threat of new entrants, followed by the threat of substitutes, bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers, and last but not least, the competitive rivalry. So the objectives for Porter's five forces is first to understand the fundamental concept of Porter's five forces, to identify the five competitive forces that shapes industry structures. Next is to explain how these forces affect industry attractiveness and profitability. And lastly, to learn to apply the five forces framework to analyze different industries or different corporations or company within an industry. But first, I'll be having a brief introduction about Porter's five forces. So this model was developed by Michael E. Porter of Harvard Business School in 1975. So this is a framework for analyzing the competitive landscape of an industry. It helps to determine an industry's attractiveness and long-term profitability, and also focuses on five key competitive forces that shape industry structure. These five forces works interconnected. First on the list will be the threat of new entrants. So This is the ease or difficulty with which new competitors can enter an industry. So factors that affect the threat of new entrants will first be barriers to entry. For example, economies of scale, product differentiation, and lastly, capital requirements. And next factor will be another factor will be expected retaliation from existing competitors. An example for this will be for a high threat online retail. E-commerce platforms like Shopee or Lazada or Temu. So, online retail has a relatively low barrier to entry compared to traditional brick and mortar stores. And a low threat would be, for example, commercial aircraft manufacturing. It requires a substantial capital investment or capital requirement. So it also have a complex technology, creating a higher barrier to entry. So um, this barrier means that it pertains to how hard it is for a new entrant or a new player to move in a industry. So for online retail, it is a high threat because online retail cuts the burdens of having or of going into a physical store, while a low threat for commercial aircrafts means that it is hard to enter or to enter into the commercial aircraft industry because you need a big capital budget for this. Bargaining power of suppliers. So this is the ability of suppliers to influence prices and terms. So factors that involves the increased supplier power is first is a concentration of suppliers, availability of substitute products, and lastly, the importance of suppliers' input in buyers' businesses. So this means that a supplier has a power to manipulate or to control the industry or the company because they supply the raw materials of these companies. So an example for this will be for higher supplier power. An example will be the dominance of a few major suppliers of specialized microchips. Since there are only a few major suppliers or quality suppliers of microchips, they have the power to manipulate the prices of these raw materials. The third one will be the bargaining powers of buyers. So the ability of customers to influence prices and terms. So the previous one pertains or focuses on the suppliers, while this is for the consumers or the buyers. So some factors that increases the buying power of the buyers would be concentration of buyers, buyers price sensitivity, and buyers information availability. The threat of substitute products or services talks about the availability of alternative products or services that satisfy the same customer needs. So factors that increase the threat of substitute. First is the availability of close substitute. Next is price performance trade-off, or an example for a high threat of substitutes. Um, for example, will be the streaming services like Netflix versus traditional cable TV. Last of the five forces will be the rivalry among existing competitors. This um, this pertains to the intensity of competition between existing firms on an industry. So factors that affects the increase of rivalry first will be number and size of competitors, industry growth rate, product differentiation, switching cost also, and fixed cost and exit barriers, and lastly, diversity of competitors. This time, I'll be using the Porter's five forces into an example using the Philippine food and beverage industry. So first will be the threat of new entrants. For the threat of new entrants, it is relatively high for small-scale restaurants and food stalls, while it is lower for large-scale manufacturing due to capital requirements and economies of scale. Bargaining power of suppliers. So it is moderate, with many local farmers, but also some reliance on imported ingredients. And large food conglomerate may have more power. The threat of substitutes, products, or services, and there is a high with diverse food preference and the rise of health trends. Bargaining power of buyers high, especially with increasing consumer awareness and options. Price sensitivity is a key factor. And rivalry among existing competitors, it is very high, with numerous local and international players, intense competition for market share, and diverse product offerings. What are the benefits of using Porter's five forces? So first, it provides a structured framework for industry analysis. It also identifies an industry's strengths and weaknesses. It informs strategic decision making and can be used to assess the attractiveness of new markets. Lastly, it helps in developing competitive strategies. While there are certain benefits of using this industry analysis, there are also limitations. First, it may overemphasize external factors while neglecting internal firm differences. Next, it doesn't explicitly account for the role of innovation and technological change. And also, it may not be equally applicable to all industries. That will be all. Thank you for listening. Again, this is Carl Michael S. Rubin, your topic discussion.